Okay, let's just go live. It is a busy morning here. The house is waking up. The animals are coming to life. So I guess that's a good thing, right? My daughter was very sick the other day, so um, she's home, and her and the 4-year-old go to the same time. So it's a full house this morning. But we're not here for that. Uh, we're here for the Batman. Uh, I just I wanted to get my thoughts out on this for a couple of reasons. I'm not going to be saying what happened in the movie, no spoilers, um, but it was an experience, and I just want to relay my experience of that to my community, and you guys can make a decision on whether or not you want to see the movie. So first, I think I'll start. Uh, by talking about the movie theater in general and how I've always been with the movie theater. And then I'll get into, sorry, the dogs are just doing their thing right now. I rarely go to the movie theater. I believe the last movie that I went and saw was probably, it was either Batman versus Superman or Alien Covenant. It had to be Batman versus Superman. Yeah. Um, Prior to that, let's see, I've seen films in the theater like The Matrix, um, Die Hard. Saw that in theaters. It's I watched the majority of the films I watch are at home. So a movie theater experience is always something that we do very seldom, and so I think that's important to say that when I go to a movie theater, I have high expectations for the movie I'm going to see, and I really. Uh, I have a feeling I'm really going to enjoy that movie because personally, I would rather sit at home with my people, doing whatever I want to do, getting up whenever I want to, pausing the movie whenever I want to, and relaxing while I watch a film instead of being stuck in this movie theater chair and, way paying way over for whatever you're buying, soda, popcorn, candy, whatever. All right. So now that we've set the stage, let me tell you how I feel about the Batman before going to see it. I tend not to, and I got this habit from a good buddy of mine. I tend not to watch movie trailers, especially if it's a film. I watch the trailer if I don't want to see it. If it's a film I really want to see, then I don't watch the trailer because I feel like they just put too much in trailers. So I didn't. I kind of months and months ago, I saw the Batman trailer pop up in my feed. And I thought, okay, let me watch this. About halfway through it, I stopped it. So I was thinking, man, I really want to see this movie. And then, of course, all this stuff started leaking out. Robert Pattinson refuses to work out. It just the film seemed like it had some things going on. There was some stuff going on. We thought, oh, this is going to be a bad film. A lot of people were talking about that. A lot of people were saying it would be a good film. Um, so I tended to stay away from the trailers and any spoiler talk because I just didn't want to know. Of course, it was really hard to stay away from the fact that the Penguin was in this movie. Like the movie was nowhere near even being out, and everybody everywhere is just talking about the Penguin. So that was kind of silly. Already knew the Penguin was in there. And of course you could put together it was the Riddler or whatever. But the preview I'd seen and what had been uh, the way it was shot, it looked like a dark film. Okay, it looked really dark. It looked really gritty. They show Batman in a scene. I guess it's a subway platform in the trailer, and he's just annihilating some criminal. Um, it gave the film. Again, I only watched half of it, but it gave the film a really gritty feel. I thought this was going to be really nasty. And if we go back to Batman versus Superman, I believe that's the first time on film we actually see Batman kill someone. I mean, he's in that little bat wing, like just lighting that building up with whatever caliber bullets you'd have to assume a bunch of people died. I think it actually, he picks up and slams some dude on his head, and yeah, he's dead. And then he's fighting people, and he's killing those guys. Like, you don't slam some dude's head into a brick wall and his head goes through the wall. Like, people don't survive that, right? So, knowing that about the last Batman character, and of course, Christopher Nolan flipped Batman on its head with Batman Begins, and then subsequently with The Dark Knight, and just made those films so dark and gritty. Then, fast forward to Batman v Superman, um, and I guess you would call that the Zack Snyder iterations of those characters, played by Ben Affleck. And as I said, I believe that's the first time we see Batman ever kill anyone on film. That's not true. I guess the Joker, he did die in the first one, right? But he was trying to save him, he was trying not to let him fall off the Jack Nicholson Joker, by the way. But so just given all that information about the previous Batmans and what had led up to this film, and again, seeing half that trailer, the dark nature in the trailer, you see a lot of reds and a lot of blacks in the trailer. So by nature, we just think that it's going to be a very, or I thought, very gritty film. We knew it was going to have this detective element because just everybody was talking about that on the interwebs. And it was there. It was very prevalent. And that's all fine and dandy. I really don't want to give any spoilers. I just want to kind of, how do I relay my experience? Okay, here you go. Here's a good indicator for you. At an hour and a half into this movie, our start time was at 9 p.m. So I asked me, hey, what time is it? She looks at her phone, it's 10:30. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my look, I have another hour and a half of this. So there you go. That's not a good thing. I'll say this as well. There was a lot of talk about Robert Pattinson getting in Batman shape for this one. And I think he did a fair job. We can't expect everybody out here playing a superhero to get jacked to the gills on steroids. I mean, let's be honest, y'all. We've seen what is this? I'm sorry, Christian Bale go through all kinds of physical metamorphoses, if I can talk, in his career. Little hard for me to believe this guy was just not jacked up on steroids when he was playing Batman. I mean, look at every other comic book character now, besides maybe Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, but Thor, Wolverine, look at all of them. The Rock, Shazam, all these people are just juiced on steroids, man. That's what it is. That's what's in the industry now. I don't believe Robert Pattinson did this, but he did put in the work, and he did have a little bit more muscle mass. This guy's probably never weighed what he weighed on this film. Not saying he was a big, huge man, but he did all right in the physical part leading up for the role. So good for him. Here's another thing about the film. The car chase. You're going to hear like a lot of people talk about the car chase and how it looked. The whole film looked very well. It's going to be one of these, probably it's going to be a reference quality film, visually and audio wise. It's probably going to be one of those things you want to stick in the DVD rack. Your Blu-ray, DVD, 4K DVD. I'm not going to do it because, as I was talking about this car scene, a lot of things in here, it looks beautiful. Feels like almost a shot for shot recreation of stuff we've already seen in other movies, not just Batman movies. And this is a theme throughout the film. There's also these times in the film where the musical score will come in, and I can see the filmmaking techniques that our friend Matt Reeves was going for here, because they're so prevalent. They're so in your face. Like, I don't know if he was paying homage to the things that had inspired him, to the movies that he had appreciated. But I would just imagine this is a film study film. like critics are probably going to say, well, the lighting and the writing and the way they shot the scene and the settings and the lighting. Critics are probably going to say all that. But I just felt like it was, again, a lot of shot for shot recreations going in here. Not from like Batman, from other Batman movies. Um, so this morning I was like, let me just look up what other people are saying about this. And to my surprise, like Mr. H, hey, that's a guy I follow, Mr. H. Now I don't agree with Mr. H on 100%, right? We may be like 60-40, 50-50, whatever, but I still enjoy his content, love his content. Shout out to Mr. H Reviews. He's in love with this film. I couldn't be, I just couldn't disagree more. I mean, hey, look, I'm not a film critic, y'all. I'm just a dumb old floor man from Virginia. Okay. I don't know dick about dick, except dick, right? Might have been a little vulgar. Sorry. But a film critic, I am not. And I don't know that you want to take my word for anything, but the final thing I'm going to say about Batman, and if anybody, if anybody has any questions about it, whatever, please feel free to to say I will try to answer any questions without any spoilers, right? Um, there is a lot of political messaging through this film, as we've just come to expect in 2022, and especially in our superhero films. This is another thing that's irritating about the film. In decades prior, I would think like the 90s, I would think is a good time of film for me. Great movies, even the 80s, 90s. And there was some moral implications to those films. There was some playbooks, strategies discussed, life tendencies discussed in those films, but it wasn't so far in, it wasn't in your face so hard, it was up your nose and jammed into your brain. It was like these were kind of maybe subtle messages that you had to read between the lines and pick up what was going on throughout the course of the movie. It wasn't just a moral, I don't know how to say this. It wasn't just a moral platitude heaved on you, one scene after the other. Platitude, was that the right word there for that? Not sure entirely. Now it's just, again, in 2022, it's so prevalent. You know, the characters in this film, Catwoman in particular, she morphs through this film so much. Like at the beginning of the film, I feel like it's a different character than at the end. And there is no constraint here. Catwoman is very malleable. Um, and it's branding, it's messaging, you know. Um, a lot of things that Batman, said or did in the film was messaging. Like again, I'll talk about this subway scene because it's in the trailer. The way he beats on this guy in the subway scene, you would think like, "Ugh, this guy might be dead. I don't know, but he might be dead." But Batman has got a very strong moral compass in this film. So it's a little, it's a little, eh. I think people are going to enjoy this film, and if you do, good on you. But one of the reasons I go to a movie theater, I talked earlier about, it's kind of a big deal for me to go to a movie theater. It's expensive. You're constrained to a seat. You can't get up. You can't pause the movie. You can't go get refreshments, whatever. And let me be honest, the sound was just not great where I was last night. I'm not going to say the cinema, but it wasn't great. I feel like my theater at home definitely had better pressurization. Can I say that? The subs definitely pressurized the room, but of course we're talking about a lot smaller room. I get it. The sound wasn't that great. It was all forward in the front left, right and center, and the surrounds, and the rear surrounds. It just wasn't great. Uh, that's a side note. So when I go to the movie theater, it is very important, or not important, but it's like a special treat. I would have likened it to maybe going to a football game. Yeah, maybe going to a basketball, maybe going to see like your favorite band. Okay, me myself personally, I don't want to go to a movie to be lectured about morality, attitudes, political ideology. Um, and I don't want to hear that from my musicians either. Like football, for instance. Here's a little interesting fact. I didn't watch the first football game all year. Didn't even watch the Super Bowl. And that's the first time I've done that in, I don't know, 2 decades. I don't watch football to have a political discussion. As a matter of fact, I think these things, movies can be that. But is a comic book character DC movie supposed to be? I'm not sure. That's not for me. I'm probably going off the rails a little bit here. I myself personally do not want to be preached to in any environment when I'm trying to relax. That's it. If I'm watching a UFC fight, by the way, fights are on tonight. But at $75 a pop, I don't believe I will be ordering that mess. I really want to see those fights. Anyway, I thought it was necessary to come on here, give my experience, live reaction to the Batman. And yes, I believe the film was shot beautifully. I'm not sure how great the audio was in it, maybe because of my theater situation. The visuals were very good, um, but the film was way too long, um, way too much messaging in it. I just they wow, Batman and Robin. If anybody thought Batman and Robin was a bad Batman film, you better get ready because you can put this one right up. They have really, if I think the franchise is in a lot of trouble after this movie. I don't think it's going to be received very well. Hey, what's up, CG, my man? What's the best Batman film in your opinion? Man, Dark Knight's really, really up there. I'm a big fan of the Christopher Nolan series. I feel like by the time you get to the Dark Knight Rises, that movie was a little long for me. Um, so I think the third one in the series is the weakest, but I'm a big fan of Batman Begins as well. And obviously, the original Batman. I remember thinking, my friend, that when The Dark Knight came out, I saw some reviews and people were saying Jack Nicholson, who like this Joker, is the best it's ever been, and I just thought that that was no way that could happen, right? Well, those people were right in my opinion. That Heath Ledger's Joker character is one of the best characters I've ever seen put on film. Period. So yeah, it was that good. But I hate to give an easy answer like that, but The Dark Knight's really good. As far as animated Batmans go, though, there is a really great two-part Dark Knight series called the Gotham Knight, I believe. The Gotham Knight Part One and Two, but it's set at an older Bruce Wayne. It is fantastic. I love that Batman for sure. Animated. The Gotham Knight, I believe it's called. It's two parts. Got to check that out, man. The Dark Knight trilogy looks insane on 4K. Yeah. Funny fact for you as well. They destroyed one of the only IMAX cameras around at that time. I think they're like 250,000 or something like that. And there was only three or four of those cameras in the world. They destroyed one of those cameras on the Dark Knight set. It was the scene where they're doing the tractor trailer scene, and he's shooting rockets and stuff out of that trailer. That's the scene they broke that camera, man. Pretty cool. I spent my whole life saying Burton Batman films are king. Now I believe it. Yeah, man. Um, I did like Batman Returns as well, but by then, as well, Tim Burton's got his own thing. Like I love Edward Scissorhands. I love Batman. Um, but all of Tim Burton's films have the same feel to them for sure. So by the time Batman Returns rolled around, that was a little cartoony for me, a little childish, that movie, I felt like, for me. Batman was really good though, man. Um, I want to see Batman in the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movies. That would be incredible. Unfortunately for us, I don't even want to say it. Shoot. Okay. You know? But who knows what's gonna happen with the series. What I will say is obviously with the Batman, they left off, of course, with sequels to be had. Be very interesting to see if Robert Pattinson even comes back. Um, I don't recall who played Catwoman. Kravitz. I don't recall her first name, but interesting to see if she'll be back. Um, um, oh man, who played Sal? Oh man, I love that actor too. Um, anyhow, it'd be interesting to see if those guys come back. If there's, I really want to see the box office. Not Zoe, thank you, Zoe Kravitz. Yeah, um, I really want to see the box office numbers on this one. Um, but I'm seeing a lot of love for it. What's up with the West Coast guys? Can I ask this question for a minute? I follow a lot of people on the West Coast and the home AV community, and they're already yucking it up about this movie, about how much they like it. Again, Mr. H reviews. He's over there across the pond, right in the UK, so he loved it. Excuse me, and I'm seeing a lot of love for the film. Uh, I I will say this: in that theater, I believe by the time they rolled those credit scenes, half of that theater was so ready to get out there, just like me. We all got up. We were all ready to go. I did hear some people saying that was awesome. They really enjoyed it. And oddly enough, there was a end credit scene which I didn't stick around to watch, but that's what I'm reading this morning. There was some end credit scene. Um, yeah, I think it was real easy 50-50 in there, man. Like maybe it was the fact that it was 3 hours, brother, but let's see. Yeah. Yeah, East Coast gets it, man. And that's another thing I will say about the film. My lord, it's like Robert Pattinson did great with his American accent until he had to say a word that ended in say, i.e., like die. He would be like, well, that's incredible. I sound like a real American until I have to die. Like Robert Pattinson, don't do that, brother. Like, and as well, like the Penguin's character, Gotham City, I guess, is supposed to be kind of like New York City, right? I guess so. Um, but the Penguin clearly had like a New York accent going on, and he was the only person in the film that spoke like that. Uh, it was man, we CG, you just brought up the Nolan series. I will say this: the Nolan series was so well tailored, my friend. Everything was written and placed so extremely well. This film did not feel like that. Again, this film felt like a bunch of films stitched together. That's just the best way I can describe it. And not Batman films either. Yes, a lot of Batman past is past filming techniques you might even see in this. Maybe some Nolan techniques. I'm just saying they're definitely there. A lot of that stuff was like copy and paste, my friend, and I don't appreciate that. Sometimes I think Batman Begins is the goat. Dude, I'm real close to that. The only reason I give it to The Dark Knight is obviously the Joker, and I tell you who nobody talks about in that film, who I just thought did an amazing job for the little screen time he had was is it Jamal Hill White? He played Spawn, but he was so convincing as one of those bosses there. He's like, that's that whole. I just think when Christopher Nolan does a film, he really sits down with these guys, these actors he's working with, and tells them exactly what he wants. I'm not sure Heath Ledger came up with this idea about doing the Joker. We all hear this and say, if you look at, I think people are a little um, generous. Excuse me, I kept wanting to say generous. See, he normally say, "Oh, he came up with this character, he locked himself in a hotel." He had direction. Christopher Nolan and his brother write all the film, so I'm sure they came to Heath and they said, "Listen, this is what we want." And Heath blew it out the water. As I said, probably the one of the best characters I've ever seen on film. Period, man. His death is controversial, though. It is. It is. Actually, we can talk about that for just a second because he is one in a long list. Brittany Murphy, man, that was the tough one, dude. Brittany Murphy. Um, you can put so many people in this category. Tom Petty. We've lost so many, and hey guys, it's doctors giving them this stuff. Uh, I, his death was controversial, man, and from what I understand, he was prescribed a lot of prescription medication, and there was a lot of prescription medication found next to his naked body on the hotel bed. So, what can we deduce from that? Let's see here. He just drops and dies like that, like a blade to the mouth or something. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy, dude. And it really, can you imagine what that guy would be doing right now with his career? It's kind of like what Jimi Hendrix would be doing with his career had he lived, or John Lennon, or what other number of young talented people have passed. What would they be doing now? And that's the real tragedy, man. I mean, of course, for their family, the people that know them personally, it's an incredible tragedy. But for us as regular people, we get robbed too. We lose this talent, and I'm not a huge Heath Ledger fan. Um, there's a lot of his movies I've never seen, but he was good in The Patriot. I thought he was really good in The Patriot, man. That dude could act, and he was really good in The Dark Knight. So just because I don't care for all of his movies or whatever does not mean that I have any less respect for him. So yeah, as a regular person, like when Betty White died, man, we've all been laughing with Betty White for how long? Joan Rivers, man. Um, Something's going on here with the connection. Okay. Hey, look, I'm actually gonna go ahead and cut it. We've been going about 30 minutes on it. Let's see. I mean, his character in The Dark Knight. Oh, drops dead from a knife. Oh, damn. Was I just talking about? Anyway, look, hey, I got other people that need to work in this home, not just me. So I'm gonna hop off of here. I think that we had a little internet thing going on there, but yeah, I don't want to be that to be a problem. Hey, if y'all want to go see the Batman, by all means, go do it. I would suggest, I wouldn't pay for it in the theater if I did it be a matinee, and I wouldn't pay for it immediately when it comes out to disc or to home theater. I would wait for a sale because in my opinion, I wouldn't pay $25 or $30 for it. Um, and I'm never going to watch that film again. I've seen it once, sat through it for 3 hours, never going to do it again. And there's a lot of problems with that film, but it is what it is. CG, always love seeing you, my friend. Yeah, man. Like I hope everybody has an awesome Friday. It's about 9:30 Eastern time here on a Friday morning. I got a house full of sick kids, but that's okay. And the Batman wasn't what I wanted it to be, but that's okay. So hopefully I can chop this little live session up a little bit and release it in little chunks or something. I don't know. But anyway, uh yeah, I think we'll cut out now. CG, my brother, have a good day. And to everyone else, as always, thank you for listening. Be good. Be safe. Boom.